Don't know where that riff was going, but I was like, oh, this is actually kind of like working out pretty good. So anyways, what's up everybody? Welcome to this beginner themed week of lessons. This is all, of course, in support of my beginner guitar course, which is available this week. That sale is going to end on Sunday. You can get it 56% off. It's all linked down below if you want to check it out. You can see the full curriculum. But other than that, today we're talking about a solo, from one of the greatest bands ever, one of my favorite solos. There's just it's just jam-packed with so many good things for a beginner to learn. So of course, what solo are we talking about? Well, this one. Alright, so first off, if you're a beginner, just go and learn every CCR song ever. That was the first band that I could play a song from that my dad recognized, and he was like, "Are you playing CCR?" I'm like, yes! Finally, someone knows what I'm playing! But this solo in particular just has so much good stuff. I'm talking about the solo, of course, to Travel in Band, and even just learning the rhythm parts of it. So good. If you have a Rickenbacker, man, rock this out. That's what Fogerty used. Alright, so first things first, there is a rather challenging part of this solo, and it is the dang speed. This song is fast. You know, it's not a slow-paced song. The rhythm section to it is this. Along those lines. And, you know, it's a shuffle. But what's happening here is, you know, John is outlining John Fogerty. If you're not familiar with CCR, man, I'm telling you, learn their stuff. Fogerty is outlining the chords that's being played. So you notice he's on this B chord. He goes. And I say a lot of people miss that last unbent note. But basically what's happening here is, think of it as your minor pentatonic scale. So if you're already familiar with your B minor pentatonic scale, then what he's doing here is he's playing his minor pentatonic scale, but he's adding that major third, because, you know, he's kind of outlining what would be like a B, I guess technically like a B dominant 7, but he's basically outlining a B major. So what happens is he goes like this. He slides from, I'm going from 6 all the way up to 8, and then you're going to go to, barring with your index finger, to 7 on the B and high E string. So, okay? Now he repeats this next lick 6 times in a row. But on the 6th time, he doesn't bend the B string. This is why I said this solo is so good for beginners to learn, because it just teaches you so many, you know, quintessential rock and roll things. So we're going to be bending 10 on the B string all the way up to the same pitch as a 12th fret unbent. So it's called a full step bend. Now you're going to go to, it's basically like a unison bend. He's going to go to 7 on the high string. Same thing if you went. So he does that 6 times in a row. It's just on the 6th time he doesn't bend the B string. He goes. So he goes. And I think he has a whammy bar, which I don't. I don't own a Rickenbacker. But he has some kind of trim, it sounds like, happening on those chord notes that I can't really do. So if you want to get those notes right, like I said, it sounds like he has some kind of tremolo arm. But, so basically, we have this part. You go 6 up to 8, 7, 7, and remember, you just repeat this part 6 times in a row. So 10, 7 on the high string, unbent. They're not together. It's not that kind of lick. It's... Okay? Remember, that last one is unbent. And really what he's doing here is he's playing this F major. F sharp major. And he does the same thing up here in an octave. So really, I use these 3 fingers, so you're going to hold down 11 on the G. I use my ring finger. 11 on the B with your pinky. And then 9 on the high E string with your index finger. I add a little bit of shake to it, because like I said, it sounds like he's using a vibrato, like a trim arm. Okay, so we go. it's a little bit more like percussive. You go, so it's not just like a straight kind of. It's. I'm doing that kind of hit thing. I don't know if he's so much doing that. That's more of like me. It's just like part of like how I keep time. So I'm going like a dead note and then another dead note, and then I play the chord again. But again, that's all happening over. So again, we started on the B. Now, whenever the rhythm changes to, that's whenever Fogerty's going right over that F sharp. So he's literally just playing right over the chords. So like I said, we have that one. Then there's a little bit of a pause, but again, it's up tempo, so you got to be quick with it. Then you go all the way up here. It's the same chord, a different inversion. This is, again, lots of really good stuff out of this solo. Because you're going to be on 15 with your middle finger on the G, and then 14 on the B and the high E string. It's just another F major 7. I'm sorry, not F major 7, F sharp major chord. So, again, it's just packed full of all this stuff. Now what happens is, the rhythm section goes back to the B after that F sharp. Goes back to the B, and he does a very similar lick to the first one, but this one, it's so cool. So it starts out the same, 6 up to 8, and then you're going to go to the 7 on the B and the high E string again, and he tricks you. You're like, oh, it's the same thing, and then he just pulls out this sweet little pull-off lick. So we have, okay, so it started out the same, 10, bending up to 12, full step bend, and then playing 7 on the high E string. Here's where he's just like, nah, brah, I'm gonna flip the whole thing upside down here. So he does this little pull-off lick here, and it's so cool. It's just a fun little lick, It's the opposite of lick that I always do. You see that? He's like up a string. So basically, you're gonna pull off from 10, pulling off to 7 on the B, then 7 on the high E string. Now you do that 3 times in a row. Now what happens after it is kind of like another little tricky section here. So we have, and for me, I think it's fine to bar that with your pointer finger, those 7s, because it'd be too hard to shift back and forth. So when I'm doing those pull-offs, I go 10, pull off to 7, and I rock my finger. I roll it down. Okay, now what happens is as soon as he comes out of those pull-offs, you have to go right back into the bend. So he goes 10, 7. Now this next part I'm not 100% sure. He definitely bends the 10 again. And I think it sounds like he hits the 7 twice. It might only be one time because the notes kind of bleed together a little bit. So like I said, I could be wrong on that one. You can listen to the track if you want, but that's just what I heard, Then you go. So this next part is when the rhythm section changes. Again, they go up to the C sharp. So the 5 chord. So basically, the solo starts on the 4, then it goes to the 1, goes back to the 4, and then up to that 5. And when it goes to the 5 chord or the C sharp, he goes like this. So this part here is, it starts out the same as what we've done, and then it changes. So we're going to go 12, bend up a full step, and you go to 9 on the high string, okay? Now here he does a legit, like, unison bend, like what we're familiar with. So now you're going to play 12 and 9 on the high string at the same time. So you let those ring together, and then you push, sorry, I pushed the wrong string. You push the B string, you bend it to pitch with that high E string. So, okay. Now you play the high E string, 9th fret. Okay, unison bend again. High E string. Then you end with the unison bend. You just kind of shake it. So we have this whole section goes. So all together, the whole solo, nice and slow, would look like this. So you're gonna go. So on with that riff. Such a good riff, man. And then one more time up to speed. Let's see if I can do it. Just because it's so fun to play. I just wanted an excuse to play it again. So like I said before, you can grab the tabs down below. Check out my guitar course while it's available this week if you're a beginner. Like I said, you can see the full curriculum. It's a good way to support the channel if you want to. And other than that, guys, I'm going to bounce on out of here. I'll see you Wednesday with a new video. Peace out until then, homies. And yo, I'll see you later. Later, guys.